So this is a good example of how the game industry is just this is an industry and part of the larger economy as a whole, and especially in the United States. This is the goal. This is the goal of what's happening right now. And I'm getting political for a second, but this is mass layoffs are happening. They just threw out the TSA's union contract. Amazon had some store, one of the Whole Food stores, unionized, and Bezos is like, well, I'm just not going to recognize it because nobody's going to enforce that. Right now, a bunch of people will tell you like, oh, what we really need to do for the economy is raise minimum wage. No, 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 no. We have $20 minimum wage in Seattle. That takes people out of poverty. That does not give you middle class living that you can live and grow a family, right? What you need there is strong unionization. You need strong people in the middle class. And so what's happening now in the game industry is, you can see it, right, is first there's suppression of wages because everyone's getting laid off. So now if you can get a job, you're just happy to have a job. So you'll take something for less. I was talking with somebody yesterday who was having to lay off people, and it was just like, man, if we could be hiring now, we could get people, so many more people than we used to be able to get because they're so much cheaper. And that's just, you don't have Meta spending $1 million a year on people, right? Because Meta just did giant layoffs. And so and they did them the worst way, because when they say the bottom 5%, what they want to say is, we don't want to have to pay you severance. We don't want to have to do any of the rules normally around layoffs. We just want to just get rid of people, and we'll just throw them aside. Thanks. And now they can ask people to come work for them for less, right? And you get rid of the unions. And then this suppression happens where the younger people looking to like get into the industry, like the game industry, which is, a hot industry, or people want to be there, they can't, because those jobs just don't exist anymore. Those internships are gone. Those low-end jobs, those starter positions are being taken by people who have, 5-6 years in the industry, because that's the only jobs they can get. And then what do you do when you're a younger person? When I back in the 90s, when I graduated college, it wasn't this bad, but it was bad. And, it was just like, where'd you find a job? I painted houses. Like, I had a college degree and I painted houses. And then I waited bar, and then I took old time photos. Yeah. Before like getting more of a real job. It wasn't a real job, $6 an hour. But like, okay. But like, that was bad then, and that's what's happening now, right? And that is why these layoffs are happening, right? There's been no fraud discovered. If there's fraud discovered, people would be going to jail. There's no fraud. You tell me about Doge when there's fraud, when there's people in jail for fraud. There's no fraud, right? What it's doing is unfunding things that were passed by Congress and trying to lay people off because they're also trying to get rid of the labor board. They're trying to get rid of a whole bunch of worker protection. And this is the thing that drives me nuts, because Joe Biden had done so much stuff for workers in the unions, so much stuff, like trying to get rid of like the non-competes, all of that stuff around that, all the strengthening of unions, and that's all going away. It will take a long time to get this back. And in the game industry in particular, and hot industries, it's going to be harder than ever. It's going to be harder than ever to break into the industry. It's going to be harder than ever if you don't have a bunch of, think about it. If you have somebody who worked in the game industry, who's shipped a bunch of titles and who knows what they're doing, and they've done it for 15 years, and you could hire them for roughly the same amount that you can hire somebody fresh out of college, who are you hiring? Right? And the thing is, like, yeah, people in the game industry themselves were all friendly and helpful and trying to help people get jobs, but like, that's the reality, right? And that just sucks. This will be a brain drain in the US in particular, and a technology loss that we will feel for decades. And especially, I have friends who previously moved here from other countries who are no longer going to move here from other countries, who are like the best and the brightest. They're people who had started games, who had made things, who are super creative, who are super technology adept. They're not going to come here anymore because they're like, well, I'm going to get treated as a second-class citizen. I'm going to get screwed. I'm not going to come here. But the layoffs are happening so much. It's not like this is a big gap, but all of a sudden, oh, hey, we can fill those shoes now. No, that's a myth. That's not happening. And so it sucks. And I don't know what to tell you. It's going to be rough for a bit. I don't know when it gets better. And that's why, people say, go do your own thing. But you know that. You need to you need health insurance. You need to pay for food. You need to. I had someone on here telling me, "Oh, you don't need health insurance." God bless cisgendered white dudes who never get sick. Right? So I got nothing for you. Best of luck.